This is the third video of the Chicken Atlas, a video series that I created to teach the basics of cooking chicken. We've already broken down a whole bird and messed with the white meat. Today's video is going to be all about cooking the legs and thighs, or the dark meat. In this video, I'll be showcasing two techniques, one pretty straightforward and the other a little more challenging, though still not that hard with a little practice. I'll teach you a nifty little trick to get the crispiest skinned chicken thighs every single time without failure, and then we're gonna go over another technique involving stuffing and Frenching a whole chicken leg. Whole leg meaning the thigh and the drumstick combined as one. I chose to focus on the thigh and then the leg as a whole, meaning the drumstick attached to the thigh. I didn't want to focus on the drumstick, and that's mainly because everyone knows that a drumstick is best charred on the grill anyways. So it's fine. All right, so we're gonna actually first start with the more difficult technique of the two, but I will put timestamps in the video description below, so feel free to hop around if you want to. All right, I will shut up and let's do it. In the world of food, to French something is the process of cutting away meat from the bone for presentation purposes, which is exactly what we're going to do for this here chicken leg. Historically, dark meat has always been cheaper than white meat for a number of reasons, one of those being that people think white meat is healthier, but no matter, it actually works out in our favor because us dark meat lovers get to enjoy the best part of the bird on the cheap. First things first, use a sharp knife to cut the skin under the nub of the chicken leg, then use a towel to yank off the cartilage. It should come off with a little bit of muscle. We need to remove the thigh bone, so to do this, flip the leg so it's sitting skin side down so you can see things a little easier, then use your knife to make short, shallow cuts on the perimeter of the bone. Once it's cut away, carefully feed your knife under the bone and slice up, cutting the bone from the flesh. Now move to the joint that connects the thigh bone to the leg bone. Begin to cut away at the cartilage connecting the joints and sneak your knife through where it connects. Then remove the bone and set it aside. Now we need to loosen the leg meat from the bone itself to detach and tunnel the leg bone through its meat. Use your knife to cut away any cartilage surrounding the joint and finagle that knife around the joint until the meat is cut from the bone. This could take a little practice, but I like to fold the thigh over it like this to get a better look and a better grip. Also, there's a pin bone on the leg, so be sure to slice that off and slice away any bits of the cartilage that might still remain on the flesh. With the thigh bone removed and the leg bone loosened up, we can slice off the thighs and get these little buttes ready for stuffing. We need to remove the skin of the leg from the thigh and just the thigh. Leave the skin on the drumstick. Carefully peel the chicken skin from the thigh until you get to the base of the drumstick. With the skin pulled back and a clearer view of that thigh meat, carefully slice off the thigh from the drumstick. Set that naked thigh aside. We are going to use it in a second here. Perfect. Now we have our French chicken leg, skin intact, but the thigh removed. We're going to use the skin as a pocket and stuff it with our minced and seasoned thigh meat, so you can kind of see what I mean here. From here, it's sort of a choose your own adventure scenario. First, you're going to want to chop up the thigh meat from the prep chicken legs. I'm making 4 legs, so I have 4 thighs to chop up. And don't tweak out if your thighs are a little fatty. It won't kill you. That's just flavor. Dark meat is full of essential nutrients and fats that benefit your body when included in a balanced diet, so, you know, I'm no doctor, but I'd be willing to bet that the remaining anti-fat people out there could probably use a little more schmaltz in their life. Couldn't we all? I'm adding some chopped olives and capers, caramelized onions, piave cheese, and some fresh thyme to my thigh filling. But this is a technique video, not a recipe one, so I challenge you to add your own goodies and see what you can come up with. Oh, and don't forget to season your filling with kosher salt, not only for taste, but the salt helps the mixture get sticky and bind together. And that's because science. Mix up whatever you decided to pop into your filling until it looks right to you. It really is a beautiful sound. And nothing says I love you more than a chicken thigh meat heart. Calling it hottest new food trend, going to be meat hearts. You watch. Scoop your goop into a container, clean up your station, and get ready to stuff. Alright, so here are our prepped and Frenched chicken legs. Try not to overstuff your legs in this step. It's rare that they would actually break on you, but you could end up with a situation where the meat pops out of the chicken skin and doesn't look too sexy, so less is more, but also don't be a softie. It's a balance for sure. Add some filling to the base of the drumstick, then fold the loose skin over the sides and the top to seal the filling in place. Once folded, we need to make sure these things don't fall apart on us, so to do that, we're going to wrap each leg in plastic wrap before we steam them. Unravel some wrap and place one leg in the center. Fold over the corners of the wrap into the center and twist the meat of the leg while tightly gripping the plastic wrap. We want a tight bulb here with little to no air. Once wrapped tight, tie off the wrap with some butcher's twine and cut off the excess plastic and stringy bits. Then, just rinse and repeat for all the remaining legs that you have. To ensure that these legs cook through fully, we're first going to steam them and then fry. This two-step cooking process ensures that the legs are safe to eat and allows us to get that super crispy texture. Load the leggies into the steam basket, then add enough water, but make sure that the legs are not submerged, and then close the lid and steam them over medium heat for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes in the meat sauna, the legs have poached in their own juices and should be completely cooked through. Remove them from the steamer and set them aside to cool for like 5 to 10 minutes. Because of the wrap job that we gave these boys, their shape should be locked in place at this point. They're also full of juices from the steam, so I recommend opening them over a plate or something to catch the drippings. Use the drippings to make a sauce or simply pour over the finished product. Your call. I recommend drying the legs before adding them to the hot oil. I mean, nobody needs an oil explosion to the dome. It's not fun for anybody. Preheat neutral oil to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, then carefully lower the legs into the oil to fry. Fry the legs for a few minutes or until deeply golden. I don't know why I'm basting with these tiny tongs. Don't do that. And you can totally dredge, bread, or batter these drumsticks before you add them to the fryer for more texture, but the skin crisps up pretty nice without anything, so I'm just gonna drop them in naked. Okay, those look fresh. Let's move on to technique number 2. I love chicken thighs. They're affordable, they stay juicy, they're mad flavorful, and if cooked properly, probably my favorite part of the bird. And everybody knows if a thigh is gonna be good, it's gotta be crispy. No. And the secret, if you will, for perfectly crispy chicken thighs is simple. Cook them all the way, skin side down, no flipping. Alright, great, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching, good luck. JK. Add enough neutral oil to lightly coat the bottom of the skillet and add in the seasoned thighs, skin side down. Cook over medium-high heat until the thighs are golden B. If your stove has hot spots, be sure to juggle the thighs around to avoid scorching. Once your thighs look like that, transfer the entire pan to a 425 degree Fahrenheit oven for 20 to 30 minutes. If you don't have a pan that can go in the oven, transfer the thighs to a baking sheet, but they might not get as caramelized in the end. Also, don't worry, your thighs will not burn when they're in the oven that long. The skin will just get extra crispy and look something like this. If adding a sauce, especially if it's like a fresh sauce like pesto, chimichurri, or romesco, I like to do it at the end after the skin has crisped. There you have it, chicken thighs that are crispy on one side and super succulent and juicy on the other. Oh! Yeah, and remember to let everything cool before you do anything. Just get a load of those buggers. Let's first take a look at our Frenched leg. Gotta have a nice cross-section shot. You can see how our filling is sort of coagulated together when we steamed it. It's tough to see, but the filling is distributed evenly in the mix. Also, don't freak out if you see a bit of pink in your dark meat. This meat is considered dark because of myoglobin, which is a protein pigment responsible for coloring. So long as your chicken is cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit or over, you're safe to eat it. Now for the thigh. The skin is crispy because we gave it the chance to cook through on one side. Much of the fat has rendered out of the skin, leaving us with basically a chicken potato chip. Because the meat was never in contact with the pan on the other side, it basically roasts on its own and stays very moist. So again, I prefer to sauce my thighs after they're cooked fresh from the oven. I think like the heat of the thigh kind of helps the sauce absorb into the meat itself. Now for the side by side. Oh, and that's just some chili oil on the legs. I had some laying around, so that's what I used. It's good with the chili oil. Pesto thigh guy. So I hope that was helpful, but remember, there are literally hundreds of ways to prepare the dark meat, the thighs, the drumsticks, the whole leg, all of it. When I was thinking of techniques to share for this video, these two came to mind because one is super easy and it's like a super game-changing technique that you can like apply for the rest of your life. And the other is meant to be a little more fun and challenging for the adventurous cook. Also, in the last video, some of you guys mentioned that I was a little hyperactive with my movements, so I really did my best to sort of like keep things stationary, so I really hope that this video is a little better than the last in terms of that. I can be sort of a spaz sometimes, what can I say? Maybe. Also, I want to give a big shout to Chef Jacob Burton over at Stella Culinary. Chef Jacob has taught me so much virtually. He has tons of amazing cooking videos. He even has an online curriculum meant to teach all about cooking and almost like replace culinary school. This video isn't sponsored or anything, but the techniques in this video, as well as some in the last, have been directly inspired by him. He's a talented guy. He's been at this for a long time. Go check out his page if you haven't. I've already been talking way too long, but there's also a bunch of topics that we haven't covered in this video, so I'm gonna leave interesting articles that I found to be useful in links below in the description. And last thing, I post a bunch of my day-to-day cooking, shenanigans, other adventure stuff on my Instagram story like regularly, so if you're into that, definitely check that out. And as always, if you're tuning in until the end here, you are a lovely person, and I will see you next week, so toodles.